Hey guys, 5-9 Gaming here, back with another Dragon Ball Legends video, and in this one we're going to be speculating a little bit. So we asked you guys to submit your ideas for a potential LF Frieza Zenkai, and you know, we sort of had that V-Jump video where it was Toshi versus the V-Jump guy, and Toshi was using the yellow Final Form Frieza, LF Frieza, and then Red Metal Cooler. Now obviously the yellow Final Frieza just got a Zenkai Awakening, so people are sort of theorizing that LF Frieza could be next in line for a Zenkai alongside Red Metal Cooler. So that's where the idea came from. Whether or not it's actually going to happen, we don't 100% sure. We're not 100% sure. We don't know for sure. But it's always fun to speculate, so we might as well go ahead and take a look at some of these ideas here. I am going to be doing this one, submitted by Zephyr here. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what he came up with here. So what is their Zenkai ability? So right away, purple and powerful opponent. Now, I don't know if he came up with this idea before or after the yellow Final Form Frieza got his Zenkai Awakening, because as you guys know at this point, the yellow Final Form Frieza does actually buff powerful opponent with his Zenkai ability, which is unusual. I think everybody at this point was pretty much, you know, expecting him to buff yellow Lineage of Evil. So I would expect this LF Frieza to buff purple Lineage of Evil, but if they want to go down the path of doing purple and powerful opponent, that is perfectly okay, because every single unit pretty much on the LOE tag is going to be on the powerful opponent tag as well, so it just encompasses more units in the buff. So it's actually a very, very good idea there. What are the stats maxed out at Zenkai 7 400% at 14 stars? So I actually have this pulled up on DBZ Space here, so we can take a look. Here are his stats pre-Zenkai. So 217 strike, 237 blast, 159 strike, and then 159 blast defense. Not very modern. I would say if this guy came out nowadays, he would have a significantly higher stat spread, especially considering he's an LF. But the fact that he's a support type really did hurt the amount of stats that he was receiving from his stars. So let's see what he gave him. So he goes for 250k strike, 304,000 blast. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big, big buff. And then he goes for 188,000 strike defense and 190,000 blast defense. Okay. Yeah, that's like honestly the highest stat spread in the game for a non-transforming unit, I think. It might be. That's very, very over the top, but I'll live with it. The main ability, so the main ability that he has prior to Zenkaiing is restores ki by 50, 30% ultimate damage for 10 counts, and then once 50 timer counts have elapsed from battle start. Okay. So what does he give him after the Zenkai? So he gets 20 more ki, and then he gets a 40% extra damage boost to his ultimate damage for 15 counts. So he gets rid of this, so this is no longer in play, right? He doesn't need the 50 counts elapsed. And then this is 5 more counts, and it's 40% more damage. So obviously, it's getting a pretty sizable buff, I would say, for sure. So that's the main ability there. The first... Actually, we can take a look at the cards first. So right now his strike and blast cards are just, they don't really do anything special. So for this one, he gets 15% extra to strike damage, and then for blast, he gets 10% to blast damage for every strike and blast card he does, which is really, really good. The blue card, now, before Zenkai does major pierce damage, draws a card, and then restores ki by 15. I actually think this is still really good. Drawing a card upon activation of the blue card is like still really, really powerful, and then getting 15 ki on hit makes this really good as well. And I believe this actually costs 40. It does. It costs 40, so it costs 10 less than a normal blue card would. And the way he buffed this was he just gave it massive. Okay, you know what? I could see that actually being a realistic possibility here, because honestly, these effects don't need to be buffed. I think these effects are perfectly fine how they are. But if they want to go ahead and buff the actual damage to massive, that's perfectly okay with me. Then the green card is also rather good. Reducing ally slip count by 3 is like one of the most powerful things you could do on a green card. The only problem is it has to hit. Yeah, because it has, effects occur on hit. So if you miss the green card, it's not going to reduce the sub count. So the one thing I would change, I'd probably just make this conditional upon hitting the enemy, but then this probably not conditional upon hitting the enemy. That's the only change I would probably make to this green card. This green card is already pretty good. It also inflicts the enemy with attribute downgrade plus 20% of damage received for 15 counts. Maybe make this 20 counts, and then you're looking pretty good. The way he changed this was 30% for 15 counts. That's fair. I mean, that's not really super overpowered, so I'll live with that. The ultimate skill is Such Beautiful Fireworks, deals massive explode damage, applies the following effects to self upon activation: 70% ultimate damage inflicted for 3 counts. Attribute upgrade: 100% to enemy sustained damage cut for 3 timer counts. He changed it to, okay, that's the same actually. 30% extra against Saiyans for 3 counts. So he buffs to 35. Okay, so this is barely changing, which I think is fine because it's already really powerful. And let's take a look at the unique ability. So the first unique, 25% damage inflicted, 50% to key recovery. He gives him 35 and 50, so it's getting buffed by 10%. And what else we got? When this character switches to standby, applies the following effects to self: if a tag freeze a force or tag Legion of Evil or tag powerful opponent. So I guess he added powerful opponent. Yeah, which is good. I think I like that a lot, actually. That's a good change because you can realistically use this guy on a powerful opponent team. Restores health by 10%, and key by 30, 20% and key by 50. That's massive. And then reduces damage received by 40%, 35%. Yeah, this is a huge buff. I like that. I like it. I don't think they would make it that big of a buff, but that's a massive buff. All right, so moving on to the second unique ability, the Fearsome Emperor. Applies the following effects to all enemies when this character enters the battlefield, plus 20% to damage received for 15 counts, and then plus 5 to strike and blast arts cost for 10 counts. And then he also does have the knockback, the strike cover change built into this part of his unique as well. So it's mainly, I think what they would probably buff with this is, you know, either the duration of these debuffs or the actual values these debuffs have. So let's just see what they did here. So 2015, 510 goes to 40, 15, and 10, 10. Okay. Honestly, this is really oppressive. 10 to strike and blast arts cost for 10 counts. That that can get super annoying because the only way you actually apply this is you just enter the battlefield. Like there's like no special condition to fulfill. You don't have to cover change their strike card for this to activate. It's just whenever he enters the battlefield, they get afflicted by these. And then 40% damage received, like that's a lot. I don't know if they would buff it that much, but you know, that's that would make this guy quite absurd. All right, and then of course we have the 2 new Zenkai ability or Zenkai unique abilities. So this would be the Zenkai 3 ability, which applies the following effects to self when battle starts. So he gets 20% of damage inflicted for 15 counts. That does sound like something they would probably do. And then he gets applies buff effect, nullify abnormal conditions for 3 times. Okay. And then gain attribute upgrade minus 20% to enemy sustained damage cut effects for 20 counts. This seems like something that they would probably do, and it seems like something that's more realistic. I think certainly more realistic than something like this, or this. Like this is restoring 20% health every time you switch out. Is like it's never gonna happen. I'm just telling you right now, it's not gonna happen. And 50 key, it's just not gonna happen. But something like this is definitely realistic. I can see them doing this. The last Zenkai unique ability, so Zenkai 6, is applies the following effects to self every time when faced with an enemy. So every time an enemy switches in or you switch into an enemy. Restore key by 30, 30% blast damage, and card draw speed. That's reminiscent of Zenkai 18 there. Okay. So he gets card draw speed and key back and blast damage. Yeah, this is they wouldn't do this. There's just no way they would do this. But I mean, look, he says here, I want him to really put LOE to the next level, to make me main it and have a little bit diversity, even though my kit is fairly overpowered. So yeah, he knows it's overpowered. I'm fine with it. Obviously, me as an LOE main, I would be fine with this as well. LF Frieza is pretty much like the unit that I got the most excited for when they were announced. But that was my choice for what I would like to see in terms of Zenkai for LF Frieza. And keep in mind, you know, all of this is in addition to him holding a blue card, so he's doing a lot here. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to the next person, and let's see what else we have in store here.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's having an awesome day. My name is Swift with 5-9 Gaming, and as Goresh mentioned, this guy is speculated to get a Zenkai at some point. So we asked you guys to send in some fan-made kits, and I picked Zoi's. And yeah, let's get into it. So Zoe says, purple powerful opponent for Zenkai ability. I definitely agree with that. I think it'd be very, very cool to have more and more Zenkai buffers for powerful opponent. You know, or not the new, but Yellow Frieza just received his Zenkai. He buffs yellow powerful opponent. You know, I think if powerful opponent continues to develop and they start receiving more and more Zenkai buffers, like, you know, like Saiyan or God Key, for example, has, I think they could easily turn into a top tier team. Easily. So I agree with that. I think that's cool. And I think, you know, like I said, in the future, we need more powerful opponent Zenkai buffers. Powerful opponent will always be relative. So yeah, definitely agree with that. Let's move on to the stats. All right, 14 stars, level 5,000. So we got about, these are obviously currently the stats in game. 240,000 blast, 220,000 strike, and 160,000 to both defenses. Basically, Zoe is saying an extra 40,000 blast, an extra 30,000 strike, and an extra 20,000 defense. I agree with all of that. I think that's enough to where he's going to be doing a little bit more damage and he's going to be tanking a little bit better, but it's not going to be insanely OP because you have to remember this is a support unit. It's not a defense unit. It's not a melee or a blast unit. It's meant to support the team. So I think this is enough to make him a little bit more viable, but nothing too crazy overpowered. And I agree with the health increase as well. That could maybe be like 3 million or something, in my opinion, but I agree with that health increase as well. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the main ability. Basically, he's saying restore 60 ki instead of 50. I think that's okay. 10 more ki isn't going to make or break the game. I think 50 was a lot to begin with already, but I think, you know, if it's 60, then sure, that's not a big deal to me. And then he says, restore both own health and ally health by 20%. I 100% agree with that. As a support unit, these are the types of things that he needs to be doing in the first place. So I definitely agree with that. And 50% to ultimate damage inflicted. I also agree with that as well. You know, getting a Zenkai, his ultimate needs to be doing more damage as it is. So that's cool with me. Let's move down to what would he change about the arts cards. So we'll go ahead and scroll down to the arts cards. So he's basically saying he wants 10% chance to inflict paralysis for 5 counts upon landing on every single strike and blast. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, you got to realize it's only 5 timer counts, but 5 timer counts in the game could be a long time. So I think it would be cool, but at the same time, I think it could end up turning into kind of an annoying situation for a lot of the fan base. So I kind of agree with that. I kind of halfway agree, halfway don't agree with that. He says green card doesn't need to be changed. I agree with that. This green card is already really good. Maybe this could be 30% instead of 20% right here. But other than that, good green card, doesn't need to be changed. Blue card will have massive multiplier instead of major. I agree with that. His blue card needs to be doing more damage, especially because he carries an extra blue card in the deck, so you're going to be getting a lot more blue cards in general. So that's nice. Let's see here. And then gain 20 ki upon landing. Yeah, I like that. Let's move down to how would he change their first unique. So we'll go up here to the uniques. So he's basically saying instead of 25%, 30%, this stays the same, and then -2 to sub count and plus 25% to special move damage. I agree with that. Like I said, as a support unit, he needs to be doing stuff like this more often, and this is fine with me as well. I think the blue card is the main reason that this Frieza, you know, can pack a punch. So I agree with that. And then he says, so instead of restore health by 10 and ki by 30, he's saying 15 and 40. I agree with that. 35% stays the same. Okay. And then he adds reduce his own sub count by 2 and 40% own damage inflicted. That makes sense. That's not too crazy, but I do like the sub count. I love units that reduce sub counts. So, and he is a support unit, as I said. So these are the things he needs to be doing. Let's go down to second unique. So he's basically saying Instead of 20%, 30%. Instead of 5, it needs to be 10. And instead of 10 timer counts, it needs to be 15. That's all cool with me. You know, he's getting a Zenkai. All this stuff needs to increase a little bit. That's cool with me. Okay, so he added right here 40% to cover cut when changing cover. That'll help make him a little bit more tanky, and it gives him an opportunity to, you know, if you're trying to cover change on the strike card and they happen to do a blast card and you're forced to take some damage, he's going to be a little bit more tankier. I like that. What would Z3 ability look like? Applies the following effect to allies when this character is defeated. +2 Dragon Balls. So basically like Blue 21, and inflicts enemy with no switching for 10 timer counts. Ooh. I like that, but I don't know if it should be 10. Maybe it should be like 5. Because 10 timer counts, getting locked in for 10 timer counts is a long time. But I definitely like the idea. And 20% to damage to 20% to damage inflicted by by allies. Wait, what? 20% damage inflicted to allies. So your own teammates would be... I think he meant to say by allies there, which in case I would agree with. What would the Z6 ability look like? Plus 40% damage inflicted to Saiyans. That makes sense. Plus 20% to Bardock. That also makes sense. It's kind of specific, but at the same time, it's only a 20% buff, so it's not a huge deal. And 50% to damage cannot be canceled. That would be the main... That would be the big one right there. And applies the following effects when switching if there is a allied Frieza Force or LOE or powerful opponent. 30% to critical damage, 50% to critical inflicted, or 30% to critical rate, excuse me, and 50% to critical damage. So he almost turns into like a pseudo Bardock for LOE, kind of like how Bardock is for Super Saiyans. I like that idea. I think that would be pretty cool. And we'll go over his explanations here real quick. Since LOE kind of sucks, I decided to give them a support that gives them the chance of being touched less, which if played properly, will be constantly giving you switch outs, crit buffs, and tons of damage inflicted while cutting enemy combos with the key reduction and arts cost up. The damage inflicted versus Saiyans is an LOE classic, which I agree with. Plus I gave him extra damage to Bardock to kill the blue-blue-purple Saiyan team. I feel personally attacked. I love the blue-blue-purple team. But anyway, so what role do you see the character and their teams, and how do they fit the current potential future meta? As I said before, mainly he supports the team while tanking with cover cut, plus the team heal, ending enemy combos, etc. I see him being core on all the tags he can be used on, powerful opponent, LOE, Frieza Force, and being relevant for a long time since part of his passive gives support to allies, even though they don't share tags with Frieza, similar to Vados, and I agree with that. Making him usable in blue-blue-purple or purple-purple-red. He is hard to get since he is an LF, but if the valuable is incredible, and if Legends team keeps punching LOE, they will most certainly reach Legends Pinnacle once more. Yes, I agree. I think basically a lot of the things that he added to this kit is basically exactly what Frieza needs. He needs to be doing a little bit more damage. He needs to be tanking a little bit more. And he could honestly support the team a little bit better. I mean, he is a very good support as it is, but a little bit extra support buffs isn't going to hurt. So yeah, I agree with pretty much most of the things that Zoe said. There might have been a couple things that I disagreed with, but most of the stuff, I think he's spot on right here. I think everything he said here would make Frieza an amazing unit, an amazing Zenkai unit, and overall would help bring LOE back into the meta. So yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you, Zoe, for your submission. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to the next content creator. Peace.
Alrighty guys, as Zeke here. So you guys have already seen the submissions, the reviewed submissions from Goresh and from Swift, and we're going to go ahead and be hopping in for one of our own. So we're going to go ahead and be looking at the submission submitted by Say No to RR. Okay, I respect it. I also say no to RR, and that may or may not be a lie. So let's go ahead and hop into it immediately and look at their Zenkai abilities. So a 40% to strike and blast defense, and a 35% to strike and blast attack to LOE and per. or purple is what I should say. But I feel like this is pretty standard, right? I think this is pretty realistic. If this guy does get a Zenkai, I definitely do think this is more like in the realm of possibility right here. And because if we actually have LF Piccolo pulled up here, and we can actually look at his Zenkai ability, so he actually does the same, right? 35% to both offenses and then 40% to both defenses, which is not bad at all. And so let's go ahead and look into what are the new stats maxed out at Z7. 1400%, 14 stars. Okay, so I have him right here on DBZ Space at 14 stars at level 5000 at his max potential, right? So honestly, I don't think there's going to be a significant increase in stats, right? Because that's just how they roll in terms of like the Zenkai buffs. They don't absolutely just completely break their stats, especially for the LF units, right? And we can even look at here on the Zenkai Piccolo. The reason why I have Zenkai Piccolo for comparison as well is because of the fact that these two came out on a dual LF banner, right? So meaning that they came out at the same time. So if one of them has got a Zenkai, I definitely do feel like Frieza deserves a Zenkai as well. And I definitely do think they're going to put the LF Frieza on par with this guy, if not better. And if you look at it, I also have this guy at 14 stars maxed out. I mean, if you look at his base stats compared to his Zenkai stats, there's not a big of difference, right? It's just like a very minuscule. It's not massive. It's not like it's not a night and day difference, basically, right? Because you have right here 2.77 mil on the health, and then over here on Zenkai you have 2.78 mil. So not massive, right? So so again, like right here with power level, it's not going to be a massive increase, but with health, 2.7 mil, that actually sounds pretty scrumptious. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like him getting like a 2.7 mil health buff, or a little health buff right there from 2.35 mil, I feel like you definitely are going to see this guy start to be able to tank some more hits, especially when you have Chilled on the bench, who also gives a health buff to LOE overall. Like, you're going to see this guy easily break 3 million HP, right? And I feel like that's huge. That in itself, when you see your enemy pull up in PvP with 3 million health, you can't help but get a little bit intimidated, right? And then so Strike Attack, I would say a pretty good buff to Strike Attack and Strike and Blast Attack, right? So from 217,000 to 247,000, and then 237,000 to 267,000. So that's definitely going to directly translate over to his blue card. Because in case you guys forgot, this guy does have that blue card, and so with him getting more blast damage, he's going to be able to he's going to slap people with that blue card. I'm not gonna lie. And then defenses, this is extremely interesting. So not only is he going to be pretty like healthy, right? He's going to have that 2.7 million health, but both of his defenses are going to get upgraded from 159,000 to 190,000. So this is going to be a beefy boy, man. This guy's going to be jacked. Like he may look small, but he's absolutely ripped. He's probably benching more than me at this point. Or well, he would probably bench more than me regardless, right? And so I like the stats. I definitely do. I feel like that alone is like Zenkai worthy, right? And so what is their new main ability? Alright, so let's go ahead and look at this guy's main ability. So Planet Destroyer. You draw the ultimate, restore ki by 50. No change there. 30% to all damage after 40 timer counts have elapsed. Okay, so he reduces the amount of timer counts that have to elapse to go ahead and get the max potential out of this ultimate. I respect that. And he took off the 10 timer count restriction. And I love that. I love that more than anything. And then look at this. Okay, so this is new. 30% to allies crit rate and damage for 60 timer counts. Okay, so this guy's basically begging for you guys to use this guy along the Z7 cooler, right? That the crit rates and the crit buffs are going to be absolutely astounding on that team. I definitely don't want to be on the other end of that. Like, I'm sure you guys are not going to want to fight Goresh with that kind of kit, right? That's going to be that's going to be terrifying. I'm going to pull up with like a 2-star unit, and I'm going to get 1-carded. Okay, so for unique abilities, let's see what we can do here. How would you change, or what changes would you make to their arts cards? So we'll go ahead and do that first. So nothing's going to change to the Strike and Blast. That's okay. And then for the special move, instead of restoring your own ki by 15, you're going to restore your own ki by 20, which is nice. I feel like that's pretty good. That's fair. That's just a slight little upgrade, right? That's just like the icing on top. That's not a massive deal, but it's just nice. And then for the special arts, we're going to go ahead and have him, instead of receiving 20% damage received, you're going to go ahead and be getting a 30% damage received. So a 10% increase to that stat, or to that percentage right there, which is also really good, right? This green card is already pretty good in my own opinion. And so I feel like I think that's fair, right? You're going to get a little bit more offensive capabilities. You're going to squeeze some more damage out of that, right? The only thing that I think that can make this green card absolutely broken, because as it is, it's already good, right? Is if the immobilization, if this immobilization ignored immunities, I feel like that's the only thing that could absolutely make this green card far and beyond like the most like ascended green card in the world, right? Because imagine like 16 comes in, he's like, dude, I'm not going to get immobilized by this bad boy. and then he gets immobilized by it. That would be absolutely a heartbreaker, right? If he can just ignore the immunities, that would be nuts. So let's go ahead and move on. The ultimate would remain the same. Okay, I agree. The ultimate already does a lot of good stuff here, right? And then so how would their first unique change? So let's go back up to the unique abilities. So the work hard, okay. And then so it a little bit of increases to percentages right here, right? So 30% instead of 25% for damage inflicted, and then a 60% instead of 50% for key recovery, which again just is the slight like padding of the stats and like the abilities, which is nice. And then so let's see. So applies the following effects to allies when this character switches standby if an LOE or Frieza Force tag other than this character is on the battlefield. Draw a new card with 3 or fewer cards. What? So it's like Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, the purple Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, right? Because he does the same thing, because he also is a support character, right? In a way, right? I feel like he has a really good support because he has the death buffs and all that good stuff too. I really rock with that. I like that a lot, because if you guys don't know, like they don't really have a lot of like you don't have like card draw speed on these units, on the LOE units, right? So this could actually help a lot with mitigating the fact that you don't have card draw speed. So if I use just one card with Ella Frieza, swap out, then I'm going to automatically draw another card right there. And then alongside restoring your ki, that's actually huge. I feel like that right there, that alone is a really good unique ability. On top of you're also restoring your own health by, okay, so you actually, it increases the health restoration and the damage reduction. So you get a 15% instead of 10%, and then 40% instead of 35%. This ability, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this first ability, I can't really see them changing it, because of the fact that I already feel like it's extremely good, right? You restore health, you recover ki, you reduce your damage, and then you also get all this other crazy stuff too, the 25%. I feel like this ability is already kind of like really, really good, in a really good spot. It's just the character overall, the Ella Frieza, he just needs a little bit of update in stats, right? But this I would love to see on there, is draw a new card with 3 or fewer cards. That would be absolutely insane. But the only catch is that you're not going to go ahead and just be slapping that on some random team, right? Some oddball team. It has to be LOE or Frieza Force. And I respect that. I do like the restriction on that a little bit, or otherwise people would just slap this guy on every single team, because this guy, it looks like he's gearing up to be the best support in the game at this point. And so the second unique would just remain the same. I respect it. The second unique is already good as is. It's already beautiful. It says, what would the unique look like unlocked at Z3 look like? So applies the following effects from allies from Battlestar. If 2 allies excluding this character are LOE or Frieza Force, -3 to strike and blast arts cost, which is, again, that's really nice. I feel like that's a pretty big boon, right? Especially if you can get more cards. You guys are getting like a little bit more, you're squeezing out a little bit more ki there, so you can just have like a little bit of a ki bank. And then this, okay, so on top of that ability that we have up here, with drawing a new card and 3 or fewer cards, this guy is going to be the ultimate Mad Lad and increase all your allies' arts card draw speed by 1 level. So everyone's getting that? Everyone would be getting. So all 3 of my characters would be getting this absolutely insane ability. And this doesn't have a time restriction on this. I think if they were to implement this, this would definitely have a time restriction on it. This would be like for 60 timer counts, maybe less. But either way, this is amazing. At Z3, I'm already sold. At Z3, like, I need this unit. You need this unit at Z3, boys. Like, you guys have to. That sounds insane. Arts card draw speed, if you guys haven't heard me say it before, is probably one of the best abilities in this game. It's probably one of the best things that you can grant a unit, right? I think that's a big part of the reason why a lot of Gogeta Blue fans were kind of hurt by the fact that Gogeta Blue didn't have arts card draw speed, right? That's amazing. And so the unique at Z, what about the unique at Z6? So it says 50% to blast damage inflicted and 25% to damage inflicted against Saiyans, which is also really good, right? So more of a offensive outlook right here. This guy's basically geared up to, overall, this guy is basically a jack of all trades then, isn't he? He's going to not only be a support unit, he's going to do amazing damage. He's going to be pretty good at defensive stuff as well, right? And he's just going to be able to interrupt combos on that cover changer. This unit seems like, just reading this, that looks like a Z tier unit in my own opinion. So let's go ahead and look at the final, what made you decide to make the character the way you made it. So it says, in Frieza's case, they need a good support, okay, that can wrap the team together. And while Frieza was a good fit for his time, other units like Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, okay, I respect it. And Z721 completely outclass him in terms of support. At 7 stars, okay, so this guy actually has him at 7 stars. I have mine at 4 stars. He doesn't feel as tanky as he once was due to the massive amount of Zenkai power creep. I agree, man. I honestly do agree. I can definitely see why. Well, like, I feel like it's really hard to have a good defensive unit in this kind of meta, because Zenkai's are just so powerful that they kind of ignore defensive units in a way, right? And so it says, updated stats along with an extra 5% damage reduction will allow him to fare well into the meta. He also needed some offensive capabilities, which is why the 4th unique mainly focuses on offenses. And it might just be me, but I noticed that even though it isn't too much of a problem, LOE lacks in card draw speed. Okay, I definitely can't see this outlook on it. I definitely do agree. For a unit like Z7 Cooler, I always tend to end my combos with an extra 30 key without drawing another card. Understandable. The extra card draw on switch out, the reduced cost to strike and blast on top of card draw speed will, for all allies, will make everything on LOE, or will make everyone on LOE look good. Yeah, that's going to be absolutely insane, especially with all the crit buffs, right? Yeah. The extra 30% to allies crit damage and rate will allow LOE to do monstrous amount of damage. Yeah, this team is going to nuke. I'm down for this, man. I kind of want this. I wouldn't even be able to access this team, but I'm down to watch videos on it. I don't want this happening to me, but man, this looks crazy. Okay, and so for what role do you see the character in their teams, and how do they fit the current and potential future meta you see? I see Frieza being an absolute must-run for this team, as well as a unit that soars in supporting, but also can hold his own against the likes of Z718 and FSK Gohan. So, okay, this guy is dropping the big boy names now. This is like the big 3 of Zenkai units then, possibly. So, Z718 and FSK Gohan are like the cream of the crop Zenkai units, right? Especially Father-Son Kamehameha Gohan is considered like the best LF Zenkai. So, he definitely wants this guy to be up there. He wants this guy to take the throne. And I will be here for that. I will be down for that as well. Alrighty, so that being said, thank you to everyone who created a submission for the fan-made LF Frieza. We definitely appreciate the support here at 59 Gaming. If you guys are interested in being a part of this or being featured in one of these videos, definitely be on the lookout at the official Twitter for 59 Gaming at 59Gaming1, or even on the lookout for other 59 Gaming members, especially by the likes of Pomzor, who is the content lead for Dragon Ball Legends, right? We're always definitely interested in these concepts. We definitely are probably going to do more in the future, and we definitely want to see more of your guys' responses. These are extremely fun to make, and I had an extremely good time making this as well. So, that being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Later!